So there's a lot of issues that we see when people are purchasing life insurance. And some of the things are in the initial setup of how these policies are designed, who's the beneficiary. So in this video, we're going to address the 5 common mistakes to avoid when buying life insurance. So number 1 is relying on group life insurance only. Many people have life insurance through their company, right? It's a benefit that's provided to them. And oftentimes they think that coverage provides enough for them and their family without really exploring more of what point number 2 is going to be. But the second problem that comes from having just your group life insurance is that if you're no longer employed there, you're no longer insured. And all too often, what happens to people is they might become sick before passing away. And in that sickness, time elapses and they get dropped from their group coverage. So that life insurance coverage that they thought was there and that their family was relying on is no longer there. And that's a big problem. So point number 1 really actually falls right into point number 2, and that's many people do not explore something called their human life value. So what is that? There's actually a calculation that can be done that helps you understand what the economic value of your income means to your family. And are you insured up to your full economic value, or are you only partially insured? Right? If you're young, 35, maybe you have a family, some kids, right? There's a lot of obligations there, and you might have a 30-year career. If you're making $50,000 a year and you're 35 years old, you have at least another 30 years of working ahead of you. That $50,000 income without any raises, without any bonuses or adjustments, that's $1.5 million that will come into your family. Not having that level of insurance means that you're not fully insured for what your economic value is to your family. So mistake number 3 is one of my favorites. It's called procrastination, right? A lot of times we start looking into purchasing life insurance, but it becomes an arduous task. Maybe we feel like we don't have enough information. And so we kind of put it to the back burner because life gets in the way. If you're looking to purchase life insurance, you're thinking about this today, click the link below. Myself or a team member will help walk you through this process and make it very easy for you. The last thing we want to do is let procrastination get in the way and then have it that, we've now waited too long, right? Because unfortunately, to purchase life insurance, we have to be healthy, right? And we know today where your health stands, but we don't know where it's going to be tomorrow. So mistake number 4 is one that unfortunately I see after the fact, right? And a lot of times it's when somebody purchases the wrong insurance policy for themselves. So what we have to look at is, right, human life value, what the purpose of that life insurance is. There could be many purposes for it. And when we're sitting down with clients and maybe they have life insurance already, what we're finding is sometimes they have goals and they have things that they want to achieve, but the insurance policy doesn't line up with those goals and objectives. That's something that unfortunately we find out too late. And again, it's a task that we love helping our clients make sure that they get the proper policy for themselves. So mistake number 5 really can be broken into maybe 2 mistakes, right? We talk about naming beneficiaries. When we're naming beneficiaries, oftentimes parents will name their minor children as the beneficiary of their policy. This can cause a lot of issues when that parent, or if that parent passes before their minor child becomes of age. What this means is in some states, what you may see is the life insurance company can't pay the benefit to a minor. So that insurance payment, that benefit that was supposed to be for the child to carry them through their years now and into college and those sorts of things, that benefit actually gets paid to the state and held in trust for the child until they become 18, which for some of you, maybe you remember being 18, maybe you don't, but could you imagine getting a check for $500,000 or $1 million as an 18-year-old and where you would be and what that would have done? So the other issue we see in the beneficiaries being named is sometimes people will name their estate as the beneficiary. And this could cause issues in taxation when that money is left to the estate. There could be probate costs, there could be a whole bunch of things where life insurance, a lot of times when we're leaving it to a beneficiary, bypasses probate. And oftentimes if it's left to a spouse or a child, that could be income tax free. So there's a lot of benefits to having a named beneficiary on that policy. But back to the point before, we don't want that to be a minor child. So there are some things you can do about that, right? And it comes down to proper planning. Some of the things that you can do is appoint, somebody that's a trusted adult, although maybe you don't always feel like that's the right move, right? Another thing you could do is set up a trust, and leave the funds to a trust, and then you get to dictate how that money is distributed, how the child can use it, and so on. One of the things I'm thinking about as we were doing this is that we're talking about the 5 mistakes that we commonly see, but what happens if you already have a policy in place? I think that oftentimes people buy a life insurance policy and then they never review it. And so for us, that's really the 6th mistake, right? Is like, you have this policy, you've put this in place, but this is not a set it and forget it, right? We're talking about your financial future, and we want to make sure that the things you put in place today or 20 years ago still sit and fit with who you are and what you want, right? There could have been things that happened, event changes in your life. There could be marriage, there could be divorce, there could be children, there could be a whole lot of things that had gone on from the time you started your policy. Let's make sure we have the right beneficiary's name. Let's make sure we have the right policy in place. And let's make sure that everything that you've put together sits and fits with who you still are. I understand there's, insurance, sometimes it's not the most exciting thing. One of the reasons I chose insurance as my profession is that I feel like so many people make mistakes or are not educated about the products that are out there. Our channel is really focused on giving people the right education. You're doing the research. We want to provide those answers for you to the things you're searching on. If you like this content, hit that subscribe button. We're putting out videos every single day, and there's going to be more just like this.